Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. Yeah, this is a second channel video, and I think what I'm gonna do here is something a little bit new. These are mail call items. These are actually all from Stuart. They're related, so they're not three distinct items, I don't think. And instead of opening these on normal mail call episodes on the second channel, I'm just gonna do quicker videos on the second channel here, ones that I can get through a little bit more quickly. And the reason why I say that is because the mail call videos do take up quite a bit of production time for me on the main channel, because I use multiple cameras and video capture and stuff like that. And I'm trying to stay ahead of mail call items. I still have quite a bit of a backlog of main channel type mail call items, so there'll be plenty more videos to come out there. The week I'm recording this, I didn't actually release a mail call video. I held it 1 week. But I do have quite a bit more to release there on the Wednesdays. I'm just not quite sure what I'm doing with mail call right now. It's turned into something that takes up a lot of my time, and I would really like to work on bigger projects, like stuff on the Saturday videos, where I could focus more of my time on those videos. And as much as I love mail call and I love getting donations from people, it's just incredible. It does take quite a bit of time where I don't have a lot of it. Therefore, like I said, to work on the bigger projects where I can really focus and have my bench covered in a mess of stuff, I want to just do these videos a little bit more quickly. And doing them like this is even quicker than the mail calls I've been doing. I mean, you've been seeing segments like this where the camera's at an angle and I'm not in front of the camera when I open it. I just sort of do it all in one take. But it's going to be even quicker. So my idea here is for the second channel, I will have these randomly released, and it will be one mail call item per video. So I'm not even gonna combine them together. Sometimes people send me stuff that's a ton of things in one package. And probably what I'm gonna do there is maybe go through them all really quickly, look at one thing that's interesting, and then we'll have to get back to the other stuff at a future time. I'm not quite sure, right? This is a work in progress, so to speak. So let's start with this stuff here and just see what this is. Like I said, it's all from Stuart, so I'm just gonna quickly open this up and we'll see what's inside these packages. I think what I'm gonna do is just open everything and I'll do a jump cut. Okay, I opened up all the packages here. There's a lot. So I'm gonna reposition this camera onto the top mount here so we get a top-down view. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. So let's see. All right, these things here are mounts for Breadbins to mount them to the wall. And these were on Thingiverse. I will put a link in the description. What Stuart did for me is he already printed some of these. I think they're upstairs. Actually, let me go grab them. Here they are. These were the ones he sent in on a previous mail call. Now this one didn't finish printing properly, but it's not a big deal because if you mount this on the wall like so, except further apart, the Breadbin will go into it. You won't really see this part here. This is some kind of weird like wood type filament, and he printed with this to make it match the Breadbin as much as possible. But one of the issues I found with this particular mount, which was the one that was on Thingiverse, is that it's only designed for the really thin Breadbins, not the later thicker ones. So he went and he modified the STL. If we hold these up together, you'll see it is now longer right here, right? This part. And that should accommodate the thicker Breadbins. And I was chatting with Stuart and I mentioned I'd like to mount some of my Breadbins on the wall, and I don't have, well, I have a 3D printer, but it's not out of commission. I just haven't used it in a while, and it needs a good cleaning, and I think the filament is brittle and whatnot. So we printed a ton of these larger ones, which is awesome. In fact, I thought that the larger one probably could accommodate both the thinner and the thicker Breadbins, and probably even things like a 64C. I mean, it's not gonna be form-fitting, but it will just sit in there. It should be fine. So that's cool. I'm gonna move these out of the way for a sec. I'm gonna sort this a little bit, and I will test that fitment with the thicker Breadbins in a moment. So it looks like he sent 6 sets of the thicker type and 2 more sets of the thinner type. And I think I already have 3 sets of the thinner ones, so with that wood filament. So that's a lot of mounts, which is probably more than I'm going to use, but they're useful for other things too, and I will show that in a second. All right, let's see. What is this here? This has a Commodore logo on it here. I know it's going to be hard to see with the black filament. There are two of these. I'm not sure what this is. It doesn't go on the wall because there are no holes. Is this a cartridge holder? I think this has got to be a cartridge holder. I went and grabbed a couple cartridges. We have Epic's Fast Load and Hero. These were both donated to the channel. And yeah, I think indeed these are both cartridge holders of some kind. So I guess they go on your table and you can just select from your cartridge. Pretty cool. They're a little stringy, but you know, that's what happens with 3D prints. Not hard to clean that up, but kind of cool. Yeah, look at that. Cartridge mounts or cartridge holders for your cartridges. Cool. All right, we got something here that looks like a high heel shoe, sort of. Obviously, this is some kind of holder for like a motherboard. What exactly fits in this space right here? What would go there? Well, to be honest, I am not totally sure what this fits in. I wonder if there's a letter in the middle of this pile of stuff here. And if there is, I'll be able to tell. All right, next up, there's more stuff here. And oh, look, Amiga 1200. Okay, so these must be probably a tabletop mount for the A1200. All right, so it's very similar to the high heel shoe ones. I guess you just put it there and the computer will slot in there and it will hold it on your desk. And I have to say, sometimes it's pretty sweet to have something that fits on the desk like that because you don't want to wall mount it, but if you just lay it flat on a shelf, for instance. Now I don't have an A1200, so I can't even test these out, but if you don't want to put your computer down flat, like an Amiga 600, Amiga 500, things like that, then these are perfect. And look, I actually have a bag here, and this one says A500 on it, so it's got to be something similar. And there those are. I assume it's going to be very similar to the 1200, but I don't know. I guess what's that called? But I guess the, what is it? The silhouette? No, not the silhouette. You know, the shape of it, the outline. It's going to be slightly different between the 500 and the 1200. So that's pretty sweet. So we got two here for the 500. Okay, and I do have a 500 actually, but they're away in their boxes. So I don't really have the space to have everything on display. Oh, these are obviously different. I guess they're at a different angle. You see how that is there? This one is a much more kind of vertical or perpendicular to the flat surface it's sitting on than this one is. I'm gonna put these back in the bag to keep them a little organized. I'm gonna ask him for the links to all of these. So if you wanna print some of these yourself, you can. Check the description. All right, looks like there are these different for the 1200 or are these the same? Oh yeah, two different ones. So I guess it's similar to the 500 where they're at a different angle, something like that. He probably printed all of these. I mean, he doesn't have any of these machines, so he doesn't know for sure, you know, if one works or doesn't work or fits or doesn't fit. So I think he has gone ahead and printed these for me just so I have them on hand. For instance, if I do have a 1200 one day and I want to display it, or I want to display my 500, that I can. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see what this is. A1200, oh, okay, right. It's the Gotek mount for the Amiga 1200. I don't really need to show this because you can find these online pretty easily. I assume that's actually the Thingiverse number. If you search 210-2839, you'll get that. I printed one of these myself for my Amiga 500 because also you need a special mount for the Gotek, and then you just take the circuit board out of the Gotek, put it in the mount, and then it goes into the computer. And it probably will slot through the case. This is filling up the eject button. And then you have this, which kind of shines through the, what do you call it? The slot in the case. You put the OLED there. And this right here, I don't know. But I assume if I go look up the Thingiverse file, it will tell me what to do. And there's a other little tab thingy there. Okay, so A1200 Gotek mount. Next, we have this, which was in its own little box. Now these are clearly Gotek mounts again. Which machine are these for? It almost looks like this is for the Amiga 3000. I'd say yes. Now, on the Amiga 3000, it would be exposed. You know, you would see this entire thing on the front of the computer, and the color isn't quite right. I mean, he made it with beige filament, but there is some spray paint you can get, at least in the US. I think it's Rust-Oleum brand, or is it Krylon? I think it's Rust-Oleum, and they have a bunch, and I have a few that are very similar color to the beige case of the Amigas and stuff like that. So you would paint these so that it would not stand out. All right, there's some more stuff here. So here is Amiga 2000. Sweet, okay, so the Amiga 2000, while it looks like it uses normal floppy drives, actually doesn't. They're taller. So if you stick the normal Gotek in Amiga 2000, you're gonna have a giant gap on the bottom. So this mount here, he printed, it's for the Gotek, you get a large OLED screen, and then this here is for the Rotary Encoder, which is the knob you can do on a Gotek to scroll through what's on there really easily. So that is cool, and I take it, this is some kind of like a base plate here, so little bits here, that the circuit board goes onto, and then I guess you screw it down into the, there's like a metal plate on the Amiga 2000 that holds the disk drives and stuff. So I guess that screws in, and this probably somehow goes together with that. There's a few little tiny standoffs in here as well, just little standoffs, sweet. So cool. And next up, this looks like just the standard Gotek mount, 3.5 inch, he wrote on the bag, but it has space for the OLED. Because normally, this just looks like the normal top. Normally when you have the Gotek, there is a standard, what is it, like a 7-segment display. You have 3 digits. And what I do is I kind of hot glue in an OLED screen. But if you want to use the larger OLED, it's not ideal. So this is for the larger OLED, so you actually can see the whole thing. And these would go together to kind of enclose the Gotek. I mean, honestly, this top part isn't really necessary. If you have a Gotek, you could just leave this off and it's completely unnecessary. But I suppose if you want it to be enclosed, safe, whatever, you can do that. So cool, I didn't even know this existed. That's pretty cool. Next up, this is for the 2000 as well. Oh, it seems like it's an all-in-one. So I think on Thingiverse, you have multiple available to print. Like more than one person has made these STL models up, and he wasn't sure which would be best. So he just printed variations for me. Really cool. And this one right here, it says Amiga 1000. All right, and that is awesome because I'm intending to work on the Amiga 1000 soon. I guess this is a rotary encoder knob, I guess. So I'm intending to work on the Amiga 1000 soon. That's the one that was donated to me. I picked it up on the coast, the Oregon coast. It had a Gotek mounted in it originally, but back in the day there were no STL files to print, so it was very difficult to mount a Gotek inside the 1000. So with this, I guess this holds it at the exact right height. And what are these are? Little adapters, I guess. I don't know how this all fits together, but I'm sure if I go look up the Thingiverse file, it will show it in use on a machine and I can see how it all fits in there. Looking at these high heel mounts, I'm kind of thinking these are for maybe the Commodore 128. It's a pretty thin machine, especially on this edge right here. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking that this is probably for. We'll check that out in a second. All right, we have another one here, 2839697, Amiga 2000 it says. So we have an alternative. So it goes this way right here. So the OLED, the USB, whoops, 2 buttons and 1 LED. This one says Amiga on it, which isn't great. I don't love that, but that's just, I know the file that he printed. And let's see what we got going on here. I don't know what that's for. We have another faceplate with the Amiga. This would be to hold the actual Gotek. Who knows what that is, and there's a couple little extra pieces in here. Again, if I go look at that, I'll be able to see exactly how this stuff all works. I'm not gonna go dig in depth into this right now because I will not think about putting a Gotek into the 2000 until I have the 2000 out and on the bench, which I don't right now, obviously. And in fact, I think I need to order some more Goteks, which easy enough, I'll just drop an order on AliExpress or wherever they're cheapest. All right, we have another one for the Amiga 500. So 2098110. This one looks pretty much identical to the one that I've already printed. Although I have to think about it, you know, where is that one I've printed? I think it's in the box with my Goteks. Goes like this. I know I'm not even showing it properly, but there's like the button blank, and then the OLED goes in there. Actually, that could be the 7-segment displays. And we have one more here, and this one says Amiga 2000 again. What is that? Let's bust that out of the bag. So this is a very chunky bottom plate, but it's got like what, for a speaker? Because you can hook up a little tiny speaker to the Gotek and it makes track noises, like head seeking noises. So I suppose this person who designed this thought you might use a much bigger speaker as opposed to a little tiny piezo one that's not very loud. You just hear kind of a click, click, click. Oh, wow, this actually looks like the entire front faceplate. That is pretty slick. Neat. So this one is designed for the large OLED, the USB, and has the 2 buttons there. And this one obviously is designed just for the USB and the buttons. And I guess you would, well, on the Amiga, it's possible with the Gotek to actually use an Amiga program. So you turn it on and it loads a selector. So then you can like pick from a list of discs on screen. And then you just pick the one you want and then it loads that one. Problem is, if you need to swap discs and stuff, you gotta kind of be a little more creative with the way you lay out your discs and stuff so you can swap to the next disc. This one, at least you have the screen here to look at. None of these seem to support the rotary encoder, none of the ones I've seen so far. And I really found that I love using the rotary encoder to quickly zoom through all the images on the disc, and you can like go in and out of folders very easily and stuff like that. All right, so we looked at this one already, that's the 500. And there's just one more, and it's for the 2000 as well. It's an all-in-one. There it is. Oh, and this one has the rotary encoder spot. That's cool. So this is the correct height, mounts the Gotek, has the rotary encoder, and then it has space here for an OLED screen. Pretty cool. So there's a bunch to choose from on the 2000. Like I said, I'll put links to these Thingiverse things in the description, so you can see them yourself and go download and print or whatever. All right, so I heard from Stuart, and then these high heel shoe ones he confirmed is for the Commodore 128. So I'm gonna go grab a C128 and we'll go take a look at these things in action. At least these ones as well, these for the Breadbins. All right, so these are the shorter Breadbin, or the thinner one. If you put on the table, some are thinner and some are taller than the others. And so whoever designed this, like I said, they designed it for the lower profile case. An example of a lower profile case is this, the Commodore 16. This is a lower profile Breadbin. And when I tried it in these, it fit without issue. Let's just see, it should work fine. Now I don't have any screws in this case right now, so it's kind of falling apart, but okay, it's actually fine. So there it is, and it stands on the desk, which is kind of cool. And let's just turn this so you could see. So it is held at an angle, so it's not, I mean, it is slightly tippy. So if you're gonna use these as a desk stand like this, I'd recommend maybe sticking a little rubber foot right on the curve here, and that should help it from falling forward. But it's pretty good, and it's very stable the other direction. Like, it doesn't go that way very easily. And I think because it's such a nice form fit, it's not gonna put too much stress on the front corner of the machine. Now you could always take a little bit of electrical tape or maybe some felt pad and stick it in there and just give it a little cushion so that, you know, it's not potentially going to scratch up the case or anything like that. But this is the, like I said, these are the thinner or lower profile mounts. And if we grab the old Ziff 64, the one I always have out on my bench, I didn't realize, I guess, that this was one of the high profile cases, or taller. And look, there it is. I see I'm letting go of it and it doesn't even fall and fit into these. So it's kind of precarious. It puts a lot of stress right there. So that's when I asked Stuart if he could kind of change up the design a little bit, and look, totally works. Whoops. It's actually a little loose, if anything, but you know what? I don't mind that because I wanted it to be a little loose so I could put a little bit of that foam in here that I was talking about. Let's just look up close. Whoa. Let's just see up close to see how well that fits in there. Yeah, from a profile perspective, it's really good. So hopefully Stuart uploads this somewhere so people who want to print these themselves can do that. And I think he did elongate them a little bit on the flat part, the part that would be on your desk. So if you are using these as a stand, like I actually intend to do, because I have several bread bins that are sort of up on a shelf upstairs, and I would rather them stand up. I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, like it's pretty good. It's not really gonna fall out. I mean, this one's falling apart because there's no clasps on this case, but that's okay, don't worry. They were broken off, and I actually like that because I open this computer so much, it's actually convenient to not have those clasps there. But that totally, totally works. Now, what I wanted to see also, and I'm talking while making this video, is what happens when we take this short bread bin and put it into these. You know what, that's fine. It works too. I mean, there's certainly space, but that would be fine. I mean, it's pretty stable. I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. That totally works as well. And I would almost argue that you could probably take these and use them with even like a 64C would be totally fine in these as well. And maybe all you'd wanna do is just like similar to what I was talking about, put some foam in here so that the 64C is not just right on the edge of its plastic on this plastic. It has a little bit of a cushion that it's pushed into. That might be ideal. And a while back, I bought, I think off Amazon or something like that, this sort of sticky foam stuff. So this side is foam, and I guess it's maybe like 1 or 1.5 millimeters thick, and it has a backing you can peel off, and it actually has a sticky adhesive. So you cut this, I'm gonna cut this into strips, and it came in all these colors, obviously. I'm gonna cut this into strips, and I think I'm gonna tape that in there. Now, the pink one I've already started using because when you put this underneath things, what does it matter? Like, I'm not gonna see it. And to be honest, if it's inside of here as well, even though it's this ugly pink color, who cares? But I had a red one as well I was using, so I'll finish using that up. A whole slew of colors. Now, I've had these for years and years, so I don't remember the link to buy this stuff, but I think if you just go on Amazon or eBay, you can find this pretty cheaply. So there's some red foam that I taped in there. Now I'll have to see if the machine still fits in there. What I was gonna do as well is put a little piece up at the top here, like above the 2 screw holes, so that when the machine is leaning against the top, because it's gonna be tilted back, that it's got a little bit of foam to lean on as well. So it's not just on the hard plastic. Okay, like that. Okay, so the foam is on these two. Let's see if the thicker of the bread bins, which is like this Ziff one here, still fits in there. And it does. Oops. It fits nicely, and in fact, it's funny because it's actually gripping it a little more tightly now. It holds it together. This one's not sort of opening up anymore. So that's a good fit. And turn it onto the side here. Now, like I said, it's resting up on the foam right there, so it's not potentially putting any stress on the plastic. So this is totally awesome. I really love this. This is just a cool way to either mount them on the wall or even just put them on a shelf, because I can put several at an angle like this and you can see them. The only negative, I guess, is some dust could go into the top here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll cut just a little piece of paper or something, and I can just lay it across the top ports here with a little bit of tape, and that'll just keep dust from going inside the ports and stuff like that. I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? But that would be just kind of cool to keep the dust out of the connectors and stuff like that. Let's just inspect and see if there's any indentation. No, not really. I don't see any marks in it. Maybe right there is a little bit of a one. Oh, there's a little bit of a line right there, but that's because this case is not very flat right there. Let's just grab the other Breadbin, the thinner one, the 64C, and let's just see. I keep calling it 64C. This is a Commodore 16. So there it is, the Commodore 16 in the thicker mounts. It's fine as well. Like, it's definitely held in there pretty good. It could fall forward, like in a big earthquake or something. But ultimately, that is just pretty great as well. And the foam actually really kind of helps. It's resting up there on the foam and down there. This is just freaking cool. So I went and I put the foam in both the thick one and the skinny one. So the 16 here is in the thin one with the kind of red colored foam stuck in there. And yeah, the thicker Breadbin is in the other one. Now, the thicker one is definitely more stable forward, and that's because it's a lot flatter here. So that's pretty good if you're gonna use it in this configuration. The skinnier one though is definitely a lot more tippy forward. It doesn't take a lot to tip that over. So as I was mentioning, I think a little rubber foot right here would be a good idea. But with the foam in there, definitely still fits on there very nicely, and it's not gonna scratch up your case. I mean, these are just awesome. I mean, look, having Breadbin standing up on your desk like this, how cool is that? Really awesome. It's just a great way if you have a shelf and you want to display several Breadbins. Look at that, it fell right over, and that's because this one came off. Okay, here we go, let's try that again. So you could stagger them on your shelf like this. You could have multiple of them, and you know, you just see a little bit of the one behind it, and that way when you want to go use a machine, you can just grab it and take it off. I mean, of course, these aren't held down, so it's not ideal if you're going to be grabbing a machine to use it all the time. With these on your wall and wall mounted, of course, that's really easy to just grab them, grab the computer as you need to use it, and when you're done, you can just stick it back on the wall so it's out of the way. Awesome. All right, so how about the Commodore 128? Let's get the high heels out here. And we'll grab this, the Art Project C128, and we'll just slide this in carefully. Oh yeah, that works great. That really does. Let's get a side view. Now I think this is on top of the rubber foot, so I want to move that over a little bit so it's not hitting the foot. Yep, both of those are good. That's nice. Look at that. It's stable. I really don't think it's putting too much pressure on the case. Yeah, it seems to be flush against the case all the way up to here. And the bottom of the 128 is pretty thick, so I wouldn't be too worried about putting that pressure right there. I mean, there's always a danger, of course, that it's putting pressure like in a part of the case that doesn't normally have it. Typically, the weight is held up on these 4 feet if you have it sitting flat on the table, although the 128 sags, so the middle actually kind of touches the table as well, and there's no foot in the center. But that's cool. That's a really neat stand for the 128. I like it. Whoever designed this STL file did a great job because it really follows the profile of the case exactly. I'm just looking at it from the side view and I can just see it fitting perfectly around the contour. That's what I've been trying to say the whole time, the contour of this case. So I think I've looked through everything that he sent. There's a couple bags on the floor, but those are the 500 and the 1200 mounts. It looks like he sent a t-shirt. So let's see what this is. It freaking works. It freaking works. I love it. I absolutely love it. It freaking works. That It's just hilarious. Okay, I love it. I'm gonna put this in the wash, and this will be definitely showing up on one of the main channel videos. Whoops, the high heel just fell over. All right, well that is it. That's it for everything that Stuart sent on in this batch. Thanks very much, Stuart, for sending this 3D printed cornucopia. Gotta get that word in here, right? Because this is pretty amazing. Yeah, the Amiga 1000 mount for the Gotek will be very helpful when I get to that machine finally and start to restore it. Get that Gotek mounted in there permanently. And then, yeah, all these Breadbin mounts, I really intend to mount, I think like 4 machines or maybe 3 machines in my TV home theater room on the wall, at least like a 64, and I will do a VIC-20, and I'll do the 16, and maybe the Aldi 64. Okay, so maybe I'll do 4 machines. So I'll use these mounts for that, and there's more than I need, obviously, because I still have these wood ones that were printed before. So I will use a combination probably of those plus these skin color ones here. I don't know, weird skin color ones. And then I'll probably use the rest as stands because I have some machines upstairs as well that I'm not gonna wall mount, but I'm just gonna have them sitting on the top of a shelving unit along the top, and I'll just have them looking pretty. So I'll take pictures of that when I get around to that. It won't be for this video, but in a future video, I'll have to show those. So that's it. First one of these second channel mail calls. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Subscribe, check out the main channel. Thanks to all my patrons, yada, 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 all the usual YouTubey stuff. And that is that.